my dream of doing a play called Let's Have Sex in IIT Rendezvous, the IIT festival, वो मेरा अधूरा ही रह गया वो.
You're comfortable using sex more than love as a
Maybe,
terminology.
because I understand that. And easy to understand. It's scientifically, it can be broken down easier than love. We never are taught to be vulnerable. When you're an actor, when you're a little famous and people like you, then Instagram is a dating app. So I look at dogs and I don't see any dog trying to be a better dog. Love is acceptance. It is again an easy word to use, but it can mean a lot when you actually practice it.
Pehle, I used to feel that I am honest, but I also figured that I'm also equally dishonest.
I had to fall in love with this person over and over again.
A newer version again and
again. A newer version over and over again.
The situation permits for you to be in that relationship at the moment. It's more than casual. It's less than relationship. It's weird.
Cleverness is that I provide it first. So I can demand it.
Welcome to the Journey Within podcast with me, Shobha Rana. This is a podcast where we deep dive into the personal growth journeys of our guests, their journeys, their experiences, the life that they have lived. From that, we try to seek some insights and wisdom on how to live this life better. We try to improve our personal self, walk towards this journey of self-discovery and living our best life. But before we get into today's episode, there's something interesting that we have found out at our YouTube analytics. Now, 80% of our listeners, that is you guys, are not our subscribers. So, आप आ रहे हो channel पे, content भी देख रहे हो, लेकिन आप subscribe नहीं कर रहे हो. So, a humble request to all of you, please subscribe to the channel. Please do like, comment and share the content that you really liked. If it is worth it, don't be shy in sharing about it. Spread it to your friends, families, and help us reach a wider audience so that with these relevant conversations about our journey within, to understand our inner world, we can help more people. Now, let's get back to today's episode. Today, I've got a super cool IITian in the house. He is popularly known as DJ Chitwan from TVF Tripling. I know you've already guessed who I'm talking about. Yes, I'm talking about this supremely talented actor, theatre artist, storyteller, and everybody's favorite, Amol Parashar. Please welcome him on the Journey Within podcast.
I'm not an authority on anything, so I don't know.
But you speak about so many things in such a fluid manner.
बातें करने में बहुत मजा आता है. और ये हॉस्टल की आदतें भी मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि वहाँ पे 4 साल एटलीस्ट इंजीनियरिंग में बातें ज़्यादा की और बाकी सब कुछ बहुत कम किया. तो वहाँ से आई थिंक बातें करना सीख जाते हो, बातें बनाना सीख जाते हो. ऑफ कोर्स एंड देन थिएटर एंड एवरीथिंग आल्सो गिव्स यू अ सर्टेन काइंड ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस एंड knack for storytelling. But in terms of knowledge, I always believe कि authority तो मेरी किसी पे नहीं है, बातें किसी पे भी कर सकता हूँ मैं.
Like I was talking to you when you had just come in that how bored are you talking about IIT and your engineering and you started on just that note.
But मैं change कर देता हूँ ना stories हर बार.
अच्छा,
I tweak them
इतनी stories हैं या इतनी बना लेते हो?
a little bit या फिर कुछ निकल के आता है अलग से, because every conversation I try to be fluid in my conversations. तो जो सामने कोई और है तो उससे अपने आप कुछ और thought या कुछ और direction या कुछ और perspective of the same story निकल के आता है. So that I also enjoy. And that hopefully keeps everyone engaged. नहीं तो वो भी बोर हो जाएंगे same story सुन के. So I would like at the end of my life for people to watch all my interviews and see everything and then say कि कहाँ पे सच बोल रहा था.
We were just talking about कि लोग कितने congruent होते हैं अपने conversations में. So
but I think facts I don't make up. But perspectives I think change, and they also change with time. They can change with, you know, one thing can be funny and sad. जब वो हो रही थी तो वो sad थी, और वो 5 साल बाद funny हो जाती है, हम उस पे हंसते हैं कि अरे यार मैं उस दिन रो रहा था. So anyway, your attitude changes over time, I think.
Actually, belief system भी change हो जाता है. What you used to believe in 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You don't believe in those things
change,
anymore.
your beliefs change, and therefore your attitude changes towards everything.
So, you did your engineering from one of the most premium institutes in the country, IIT. From there to now being an actor, how has this journey been? It's a wide spectrum I'm talking about. I'm talking about like a transition over the years.
Time. Yeah. It's been an interesting journey, of course. It's been tough there have been tough days, there have been easy days, there have been fun days, but so like you rightly said, I think जब मैं आया था, that was a very different person who took that call. I was working in a company, I had a job, I had a salary, I was like I had everything
Uh-huh.
as a young Indian male. But I don't know why there was something missing. There was in fact there was a lot missing, because now you know how incomplete you felt at that time, you know, because with age hopefully you feel more and more complete. So you realize कि उस time पे बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ चाहिए था. There was something that is missing inside of you that you're trying to fill, and you're probably trying to fill with bad things, you know.
What are the bad things that you
I
did?
mean, probably just like spending money on drinking, on parties, or you know, यही आपको यही समझ में आता है कि इससे ये है
On
जिंदगी का
dating?
मतलब. Dating, मतलब, I mean, you're not spending money on dating, but you're also, you're seeking that validation from the opposite sex. That I think lasts forever though. Now I'm beginning to realize कि वो maybe your confidence around it becomes better, or at least you're not like as desperate or needy as you are when you were 20, especially from an engineering college.
Of course.
But so you वो वाला department थोड़ा सा secure हो जाते हो उस मामले में, but your wanting and needing doesn't go away, I think, in that department. Is what I feel right now. I don't know, 20 years later, I might have a different.
Yeah, I'm
attitude
sure
towards it.
the equation has also sort of reversed, no? Back in the day, when you were 20 in an engineering college, limited number of girls in the college, to now in a world where you're thrown out and you are this Amol Parashar, the phenomenal actor, the comedian, the storyteller, जो बातें बनाता है और बहुत अच्छी बातें बनाता है, and all of that.
I was deprived of female attention.
Never?
No, I was like,
You were?
and that is,
Okay.
or at least that's what I felt. I felt you felt like कि मैं तो attractive नहीं हूँ ना किसी के लिए. You are mostly see yourself as a nerd in school. You are the sciencey, you know, all the cool girls and boys, they don't want to hang with you, or you know, they're different from you.
High five.
Yeah,
Takes one
ये
to
होता
know
है.
another.
फिर आपको लगता है कि हाँ अब हम तो uncool हैं इस दुनिया में. You constantly finding a place in the world. So especially till I finished school, I was the nerdy kid. Like I jumped schools a lot, so it's also different in different schools. It's not always the same experience, but more or less that. And then I go to a place like IIT, जहाँ पे just मैंने कुछ नहीं किया. मैं वही इंसान था in Delhi Public School. In my class 12, मैं वही इंसान था 3 महीने बाद in IIT. But in IIT, suddenly I was, in comparison, the cool kid, because I am from Delhi. You know, I speak a certain way. I have friends, Delhi friends. I have a car. And कुछ ना करने के लिए आप uncool, आप food chain में बहुत नीचे थे. Suddenly आप ऊपर आ गए हो. आपने कुछ नहीं किया. But then again, it is only in comparison.
But ऐसा क्यों हुआ? क्योंकि दूसरे part of country से लोग आ रहे
Because
थे.
IIT is a place like that.
Yeah.
It's where you are. You know, it's almost like मैं इस देश में बहुत गरीब हूँ, लेकिन मैं शायद किसी और देश में जाऊँ सेम पैसा लेके, so I might be one of the richest people there. So in terms of social currency, that's what happened in my life, because in this world I was, in comparison, maybe theoretically a cooler kid कि भाई, you know, Delhi local kid, उसका ये है, उसकी लड़कियां दोस्त हैं, अरे वाह, अरे वो इसको जानता है, वो उसको जानता है, वो इंग्लिश में बात करता है, you know, all these things that जो उस एज में मैट्रिक्स लगते हैं आपको coolness के, अब मुझे नहीं लगते हैं, but उस टाइम पे आपको लगता है कि अरे suddenly I get a little more attention, or people look up to me for this for these things. So that happened in IIT.
What came out of this? Feeling validated, feeling cool. What else did you do?
थोड़ा cool हो गए आप भी you know, you play the role that you are assigned. I think everybody is an actor. वो एक आप सेट पे जाते हो, एक रोल में जाते हो, उस कहानी में आपका रोल क्या है आपको समझ में अगर आ जाता है, अगर आप उसको एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हो, then you play that role. You know, you play the cool kid. So I was playing the cool kid कि हाँ चलो पार्टी करते हैं, I'm the party kid, you know, let's go drink, and I got heavily into drinking, and so you're living that image, because you know बाकी लोग की खुशी भी है उस image में ना, they are looking up to you for that thing, and you're living up to कि हाँ मेरी तो दोस्त है लड़कियां, मैं तो उनको बाइक पे घुमाता हूँ. आपको पता है कि ऐसा ज्यादा कुछ नहीं चल रहा है, but अगर उनको लग रहा है तो why not? So that was, I think, that one shift that happened. I was also since I think I realized that we are going to go into the direction of love and relationships and all of that, so I anyway going to take that route into this story. Is I think it was also the age I was carrying a heartbreak inside me. You know, we all
Breakup हो गया था.
ब्रेकअप ना हुआ था, उसने मतलब उस बस हाँ नहीं बोला. वो तो उसमें हार्टब्रेक हो जाता है
उसी
ना,
में
आप
हो
बिंदास
जाता है.
बन जाते हो 17 साल की
Actually,
एज में.
हमारे टाइम में तो ये भी होता था.
हाँ कि हम मुझे तो कोई प्यार नहीं करता, मैं रिजेक्ट हो गया, you know. So वो so heartbreak, yeah, heartbreak probably is not the right word, but जो भी बोलते हैं
Yeah,
उसको,
exactly.
one-sided heartbreak.
Unrequited love.
Unrequited love.
Yeah, that's
And also
sweet.
from a friend, because you're, school में you have a crush on somebody, she's a friend of yours, and आपको बड़ा हिम्मत करके आप उसको बताते हो, and then she very politely, very nicely tells you she doesn't feel the same way, but
Oh boy.
आपको लगता है oh shit ये क्या हो गया, and then you hope, आपको लगता है कि नहीं मैं एक दिन कन्विंस कर लूंगा इसको, मैं इतना प्यार दिखाऊंगा, और प्यार दिखाने का तरीका है कि मैं इतना ऐसा सैड हो जाऊंगा मैं. So that becomes a very weird way of living that feeling.
She was in the same city?
She was in the same city. She was in Delhi.
Ah.
So school के बाद she went to LSR. I came to IIT. So
Not that far.
दूर भी नहीं था. I think one of the reasons I stayed back in Delhi was also that I never told my parents, because they wouldn't have believed ये कैसा बच्चा पैदा किया है हमने कि ये life decisions ऐसे ले रहा है. And it's not even like I'm in a relationship, कि just that कि शायद थोड़ा चांस रहेगा अगर हम सेम शहर में रहेंगे, तो वो हुआ, बट वो कभी हुआ नहीं.
लेकिन उसके चक्कर में यू टुक मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग, मतलब जो लास्ट में होता
लास्ट नहीं है यार.
मतलब मुझे अपना
सेकंड
टाइम
थर्ड
याद
है
है.
उस टाइम पे सेकंड थर्ड रहता था. कंप्यूटर्स था, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स था, मैकेनिकल था. उसके बाद
आईटी भी होता था एक.
आईटी हमारे उसमें नहीं था. केमिकल था. वो सब फिर थोड़ा बाद में आते थे.
इलेक्ट्रिकल एंड ऑल दैट.
It was lower than my rank in terms of like I
You
could
had
have
like some
gotten
230 or 240.
238.
238.
I mean, I probably could have gotten electronics or computers.
Computers for sure.
मिल जाता कहीं ना कहीं. और
any of the
कानपुर
colleges,
में, not any, बॉम्बे दिल्ली में नहीं मिलता, बट
हाँ,
कानपुर
हाँ.
खड़गपुर में मिल जाता
हाँ.
शायद.
मैं तो लाखों में खेल रही थी. तो कुछ 1-1.5 लाख
दिल्ली
2
का भी
लाख.
इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स I missed by 6 ranks. I think it folded at 232 and 238 पे I opened mechanical
Wow.
engineering, and मेरे बाद I think 400s में थे लोग. तो वहाँ पे बड़ा फनी वर्ड होता था ढक्कन. So मैं मैकेनिकल का ढक्कन था, because I opened that department, and then ढक्कन के बाद फिर नीचे like I was 238 and maybe the next one was 475. So उन लोगों को भी बड़ा क्यूरियोसिटी होती थी कि तूने
क्यों ले लिया. Exactly.
I don't remember exactly, but I don't think I would have told exactly anyone the exact reason, because that would just like have sounded foolish. तो मैं ऐसा तो वो कूल में निकल गया ना कि क्या कूल बंदा है, इसको फर्क नहीं पड़ता. So
you rode along the way.
That fit into the image that I already had in IIT. यार ये तो अलग ही आदमी है, इसको फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता यार, इसने ये ले लिया, उसने वो ले लिया. Then I would joke about कि हाँ मैं तो IIT भी छोड़ दूंगा, मेरा क्या है. This thing that I'm not so attached to this as you guys are. All you mortals attached to these worldly things.
Yeah, holier than thou.
और जब मिल जाता है तो ये सब जीना आसान होता है.
आसान होता है, correct.
And maybe deep down, I realize now that I was probably, in comparison to the rest of the world, a slightly more detached person with things, or with,
How does a detached person score 238 rank in IIT? I was very attached. I
you don't have
2 lakh.
to want it. It doesn't have to define you. I mean, you don't have to need it. It doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to send you down a spiral if you don't get it. But you can still aspire for it. And I have had this conversation. It's an interesting question, because it helps me improve my answer. It's a smart question. So what I did was I started giving the analogy of sports to a lot of people, especially people who play sports. I don't know if you do.
I have played, yeah.
When you're playing sports, you are into it. In that moment, you put everything, you push your physical limits. Sometimes you get really emotional also. There are people who get really upset, angry, frustrated. वो चाहिए होता है आपको उस मोमेंट में. लेकिन अगर वो हार जाते हो आप मैच, तो फिर आप 10 दिन तक जाके घर पे सैड नहीं हो जाते हो. You move on. But you come back and you play it with the same passion the next time.
So one-sided passionate love led to you choosing IIT Delhi.
Passionate तो पता नहीं. अगर इसको
one-sided passion तो था ही ना, तो ही तो you chose.
One-sided
जितना हो सकता था.
Desire थी.
But
हाँ.
अभी you're still in touch with that girl or your
friends? We're still friends. I don't know अगर वो ऐसा इंटरव्यू देख बोलते अरे अभी भी वही कहानियां सुना रहा है, इसको क्या हो गया. But now she's married, she has children. But we are friends. We're still friends. There are those WhatsApp groups जो स्कूल के कॉलेजेस के होते हैं, जिसमें साल में 1-2 बार हैप्पी बर्थडे, और किसी का कुछ हुआ, किसी के बच्चे का बर्थडे हुआ, कुछ अपडेट हुआ, वो सब पता चल जाता है. किसी का डिवोर्स हुआ, ये सब खबरें आती रहती है. So there are those WhatsApp groups. It's not. I think after school it was actually never a very strong one-on-one.
Yeah, but I just wondered कि ये conversations में awkward क्यों होते हैं? मतलब किसी को बता पाना that you like them, Why is it so
There's so
awkward?
much fear of rejection. There's so much fear of it's being vulnerable, and I think we never are taught to be vulnerable. We are still learning. I think I'm maybe better at it now than before, but अभी भी फट जाती है कभी कभी moment में, you know, when you have to be really honest, and then you need people around you who encourage that, you know, where you feel safe. Because we also are not, we are not taught to be vulnerable. Second, we are not even taught how to behave when somebody else is being vulnerable. You know, हम shut down कर देते हैं उनको, या हम reject कर देते हैं, या you know, we don't accept it, so the other person feels a little like अरे क्या तो वो being vulnerable and letting people be vulnerable are two separate skills, and both are equally important, I think, because that's how you encourage
A safe space.
a safe space. And I guess, I mean, if we are going to talk about romantic relationships, I think that's a big part of a romantic relationship as well, because you're so close to someone, and then if you can't be vulnerable in front of them, or if you don't feel safe around them in terms of speaking your truth, then, you know, then you won't realize, but you will feel bogged down. You will feel then you will find other, you know, friends या कुछ और, या ऑनलाइन, या कुछ आप जाके कहीं ना कहीं तो आप एक्सप्रेस करना चाहोगे, थेरेपिस्ट के पास जाओगे, कहीं तो जाओगे आप. And interestingly, many managers' lives forever in generations have probably been like that. They were devoid of vulnerabilities, which is sad.
Actually, I feel because the way we grow up, बहुत सारा हमारा default behavior बन जाता है, which is being passive aggressive in relationships. You know, saying what you don't mean, or not saying what you really want to say. All that behavior, basically hiding your vulnerability, hiding your fear, not accepting the rejection well or taking the rejection well. I think that becomes somewhere our default behavior. उसको change करने के लिए, I think we need some sort of
We also learn from the world around us. We learn from our elders, our parents, our families. You know, so वो generational है. उनकी भी ऐसा गलती नहीं. They also learned from their this thing. You know, sometimes अभी हम सब कुछ parents पे डाल देते हैं कि parents का trauma है और बचपन का trauma. But you know, it is something that and at the same time, parents are people who probably the only people who want the best for you. Who will lay down on a railway track for you. कोई और नहीं करेगा. तो वो they are doing their best. It is just that, you know, everybody is imperfect. Everybody is learning along the way.
What we try to do is we try to generalize the learning or the application of one learning in one situation to every other situation. Like if parents are encouraging you to be competitive, then if you take that spirit into every area in your life, that doesn't work. In certain areas, that works.
Maybe.
Right? So the intelligence of using it at the right place, that spirit, that competitive spirit, could be creating wonders for you. And using it at the wrong places could be completely detrimental to you and your friendships and relationships and everything that you're trying to build.
True.
So I think वो upbringing में जो ingredients होते हैं वो तो सही होते हैं, वो सही तरफ ही आपको लेके जाने के लिए होते हैं, but वो application हम उसका जब हर चीज में करने लग जाते हैं तो
मतलब
वो सेफ नहीं होता है.
हर वो चीज भी नहीं की है जो हमारे पेरेंट्स ने हमको बोली है.
हाँ.
हमने उल्टी चीजें भी की हैं.
अपना दिमाग भी
बताया हो कि नहीं बताया वो अलग बात है, पर हमने उनकी उल्टी चीजें भी की, हमने ये भी किया, हमने खुद के चॉइसेस भी किए, हमने रिबेल भी किया आफ्टर सर्टेन एज की नहीं करूंगा, बताऊंगा नहीं. I don't think my parents know everything about my life or every moment that I've lived.
Nobody
I might
knows.
not want to share them all. Sometimes
Does anyone know?
बेचारे scar ना हो जाए.
Yeah, I know.
Does anyone know? I think some people are close.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say one person right now, but some people come close to that. But फिर वो आप distance आ जाता है तो अब कुछ लोगों के साथ फिर आप नहीं share करते हो anymore.
Right.
So they don't know what has happened in the past few years because you've kind of like been moved away from each other.
Amol, you talk about stories, about relationships, about sex, about casual relationship. What is your understanding of a casual relationship? What exactly is it?
I think the word है casual, जैसे कि वो मैंने जो spoken fest वाला किया था उसमें भी you know there was this joke कि भाई casual sex क्या होता है यार, मुझे नहीं पता, मतलब what is formal sex, like शर्ट पैंट पहन के कोट पहन के सेक्स करना फॉर्मल, इट्स ऑल हाँ सब कैजुअली है. बट सेक्स अगेन इज सच अ वल्नरेबल, I think it makes you feel so vulnerable, at least in that moment. And for some reason, I mean many reasons I guess, social, religious, जो भी बहुत सारे factors हैं इसमें कि somehow sex has become a thing that we don't talk about openly. And that leaves a lot of scope for misinterpretation, a lot of scope for mislearnings, a lot of scope for mistakes, a lot of scope for crimes, because you don't understand how to deal with your own desires and other people's desires, and you mistake certain cues for sexual cues. बहुत complex है. It's like such a big part of us. We're all living beings. मतलब from a certain perspective, I believe that we're all plants. हमारे अंदर DNA में ही रिप्रोड्यूस करना है. लाइफ का काम है लाइफ बढ़ाना, कि आगे लाइफ बढ़ती रहे. वही छोटा माइक्रोब जिसको दिमाग भी नहीं है वो भी यही कर रहा है कि मैं बस 1 से 4 हो जाऊं. उसका भी वो भी यही है. तो ये हमारे अंदर है. those desires are inside us. Now of course we live in a world which is where we also think about other things, and not just ki I'll kill this person to reproduce. That's not the world we live in and we want to live in. We want to factor in other things also. We want to factor in happiness. We want to factor in comfort. We want to factor in food, love. Whatever, love, companion, whatever other feelings also we want to.
Interestingly, you said you didn't even think about love.
Love तो मैंने सोचा ही नहीं. मैं तो basic में तो food और सबकी बातें कर रहा था.
That's what I'm saying. Do you not think about love?
Complex need हो गया. Comfort में शायद love में include हो गया था, because love again is a complex emotion. Love is something that I don't know how to define, so I use it very sparingly, because and it's funny because even the people I say I love you too, I sometimes ask कि देखो बोल तो दिया but मतलब क्या है इस बात, and there are moments that be like this is just stupid. ऐसे कौन बात करता है? This is like 16-year-old ना. What does love mean? I said but sometimes it's true. There are moments when I feel like what does it mean? Like I'm feeling like saying it. And I'm enjoying listening to it. But what does it really mean when we say to each other, how is it different from, how is this different from this? Why are we saying this? What love means to me, I say love is acceptance. It is again an easy word to use, but it can mean a lot when you actually practice it.
Very difficult to practice.
Accepting other people for whoever they are, for whatever they are, not just in this moment, because they're also changing constantly. They're also, one change is that कुछ ऊपर नीचे जो होता है, कभी किसी का मूड ऐसा है, कभी ये है, उनके अंदर क्या क्या है, like we said, bad thoughts, weird things, ideas, fantasies, truths, past, future, aspirations, desires. There's so many things inside a complex human being, and if you are able to accept it, even if you don't agree with it. Again, they're slightly different things. You may not agree. I may not agree with somebody's political opinions, but I'm able to accept them. I am able to give them space. Comfort is a छोटा basic part है, which is easy to define. Care is छोटा part है. This thinking or worrying or caring में ही आ गया वो. तो ये छोटे छोटे parts हैं उसके. But yeah, which is why probably I didn't use love. But sex is a very basic.
Yeah, you're comfortable using sex more than love as a terminology.
Maybe because I understand that. It's easy to understand. It's scientifically it can be broken down easier than love. Love, I think, is something that we're still, at least in terms of scientific understanding, still trying to. At least I am still trying to figure what it may mean. And when I read more, when I see interesting things, art, maybe that idea, maybe that understanding becomes better, and it changes also, it evolves. Like my idea of, if you asked me 10 years back, what does love mean for you? Maybe I don't even know what my answer would have been 10 years ago.
Choosing a college in a city just to...
Yeah, I mean, that was love. But maybe somebody can also call it toxic.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Or I can be like, that was a little like weird, it might have been awkward for the other person. Like मैंने कभी बोला नहीं कि मैंने तुम्हारे लिए किया, but अगर उसको लगा भी तो we took less into consideration about what our love was making other people feel, and that has been a big problem, at least where we have grown up. कि अपना लव सबको समझ में आता है, बट उससे दूसरे को क्या, तुम दूसरे को जिंदगी पे क्या असर डाल रहे हो वो समझ में नहीं आता. और दिस वन साइडेड लव वाला जो एंगल है, it borders on harassment. Now we can Like, I'm not saying I harassed her, but
Yeah.
you know, it can. If I was a different kind of boy
Person,
also,
of course.
जो मतलब बार-बार उसको लेटर लिख रहा है और खून
बाइक
से
पे
लेटर लिख
follow
रहा
कर
है और
रहा
वो
है
कर
और-
रहा है, ये सब you know वो भी होता है और लोगों को लगता है ये प्यार है यार, मैं तो प्यार कर रहा हूँ, मतलब और कौन करेगा तुम्हारे लिए.
But do you think 100% love or acceptance is possible in today's world when all of us are constantly changing and evolving physically, mentally,
It's
emotionally, spiritually?
It's work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and that's why they say love is work. And that's why, you know, sometimes I wonder कि इन सब चीजों का मतलब क्या है कि लोग बोल के चले जाते हैं. If you ask, you know, there are all these Instagram reels about marriages that last for 50 years, and when you ask them कि भाई how did you, कैसे चला आपका, कैसे चलाया आपने, तो कहीं ना कहीं वो यही बोल रहे होते हैं. बोले यार, it was constant work. I had to fall in love with this person over and over again.
Version again and
A newer version over and over again, and you have to accept that new person. You're like, अरे तुम तो बदल गए यार, तुम पहले ऐसे हो. ये होता है relationship में. Every 2-3 years.
From as basic level as physically how you look to emotionally, spiritually,
Eventually,
mentally,
your sense
how
of humor
you
may change, your lifestyle may change.
everything.
You are growing in a certain direction. You are reading certain books. You are living your own lives, and you are having your own conversations. You are constantly evolving. And catching up with that evolution is work. Like keeping in touch कि भाई चल क्या रहा है, कौन हो तुम अभी, आजकल क्या चल रहा है, कहाँ जा रहे हो, what are you thinking, keeping in touch, accepting that things will change, they will change, you will change, and accepting your own change. I mean, because I use this example also in terms of self-love. अभी self-love भी एक idea है, concept है जो आजकल use होता है. And when I try to think about what it may mean, it kind of fits into my own definition. कि हाँ, ये भी acceptance ही है ना. If you're able to accept certain parts of yourself, because we are not always able to. And that creates a lot of conflict. And I see that in people. I see that in me. You go through a certain tricky phase, bad phase, not so easy phase. And like, हुआ क्या exactly? What exactly happened here? And I realized that what exactly happened is that there was something, I saw something inside of me that I didn't like. Or that I didn't accept. कि यार ये मैं नहीं कैसे हो सकता हूँ, ये तो मेरे सेल्फ इमेज में जा ही नहीं रहा है, ये तो मैं तो अपने आप को ये समझता हूँ, मैं अपने आप को मान लो कूल समझता हूँ, पर मैंने कोई अनकूल चीज कर दी, तो अब मैं ग्रैपल नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ उससे, या मैं उसको अच्छे से अपने आप को जस्टिफाई नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. समटाइम्स यू आर एबल टू जस्टिफाई कि वो एक्चुअली हुआ क्या रहा उस दिन, ना उसने मुझे ऐसा बोला था तो उसकी वजह से ऐसा हुआ, उसने, we are able to make up stories to justify our own behavior, but sometimes you're not able to, and then you fight with that idea for a long time, or you try to grapple with it, and eventually you have to accept, yeah, maybe I'm uncool also, it's okay. Or maybe I can be jealous in a moment, it's fine. Like, I don't have to stick to this image कि यार मुझे नहीं होती ये feelings, मुझे नहीं आती. Those feelings are weird.
I think all of us, this is my personal experience, that all of us are also the exact opposite of who we believe we are. This is my personal belief about myself.
We can be everything. Like, again, as an
right.
actor,
so
also we live in that belief कि यार सब कुछ हमारे अंदर है, ये भी बोलते ही हैं लोग.
हाँ, मतलब जैसे पहले I used to feel that I am honest, but I also figured that I'm also equally dishonest.
Yeah, there will be
it might not be stealing from someone, it might not be the actual definition of dishonesty, but in a lot of ways, emotionally, mentally, even physically, for your own self, you're dishonest in so many ways. So we are such complex beings, and like you're saying, love is work, love takes work, 100% acceptance is a lot of work. So do you think that because love is work, finding sex is easier than finding love?
Definitely.
In today's world.
In today's day and age, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, because love में बहुत मेहनत है यार.
Are those apps not for love?
आपको ऐप डाउनलोड करना है, आपको स्वाइप वाइप करना है, होपफुली किसी थोड़ी चैट वैट करनी है, चैट जीपीटी आपको जोक भी दे देगा, बोलने के लिए आप जोक भी मार दोगे 2-3 हाँ हो जाएगा.
चैट जीपीटी
सब हो रहा है अभी तो वो, and obviously so, मतलब लाइक वी डिस्कस कि लव तो काम है, वो एक आदमी के साथ आप कर पाओ तो उसमें ही बहुत सारा आपका टाइम, एनर्जी, एफर्ट जाता है इन बिल्डिंग दैट रिलेशनशिप ऑफ 100% love, as we were talking. Sex आप 10 लोग साथ कर सकते हो यार.
You, Amol Parashar, the belief system that you have, the definition of love that you have, the way you see relationships, aren't you the same person when you go on the app, or you're a different version of yourself? You're there for different purposes.
Genuinely, मैंने तो कभी ऐप यूज नहीं किया. When you're an actor, when you're a little famous and people like you, then Instagram is a dating app.
Yeah, of course.
Everything happens on Instagram.
It's better than many of the dating apps, I can tell you that.
Yeah, because there are people who are interested in you.
Yeah.
So you're not even
I like
having
how
to work.
uncomfortable you are talking
No,
about
I'm
this.
like I'm just trying to choose my words carefully.
I know.
So I don't come across, I don't say anything stupid or
Yeah.
that seems a little creepy or whatever.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of conversations about this also, no? About being famous and about this thing and how you use that thing and power dynamics and all of that. So you want to be careful about drawing your boundaries also. But it comes into play. People are interested in you because of who you are. They will show interest, and they will show interest in like bold ways, and they'll be like, whoa. So there is nothing, you don't feel like,
What are the bold ways? I want to know that.
I mean, young people, I don't know, people are just like very bold these days.
I like how
Yeah.
uncomfortable you are about this.
No, I'm just trying to be, I'm trying not to be disrespectful, that's all.
Yeah.
But,
No, but if you're telling a fact in a graceful manner, if at all it can be told in that manner.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When you open your Instagram, you open your DM, like, oh.
I don't want to see this. I got the
काम की meeting चल रही है अभी लोगों को.
picture.
Yeah. So there are, and this is all the Snapchat culture and
Wow.
Instagram and all of this and selfies and nudes and it's very easy. It's very easy.
So when you have this easier access to casual relationships, how does one go towards finding true love? Does one even need to find true love then?
I don't know. I believe that there was a phase in my life where I thought, maybe this is who I am. And it's not even about kya sahi hai, kya galat hai, but this is who I am. Probably this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to focus my mental energies on my work towards my craft. Love is something I'm not able to understand, and I think it's not meant for me, whatever love means to other people, because you're also learning from other people. So you're in a relationship, you learn कि अच्छा इस इंसान के लिए love क्या है, अच्छा ये तो शायद मैं नहीं दे पा रहा हूँ यार, या ये मुझसे नहीं होगा, अगर ये love है तो ये मुझसे नहीं हो रहा है, तो वो then you go away and like हाँ maybe love यही होता है और मैं नहीं हूँ यार, मेरे से love नहीं होगा. But your definition changes when you meet somebody else, and then that happens. But in that in between phase, I thought हाँ love में तो बहुत काम जाता है और वो मेरे है भी नहीं. I feel dishonest. When I'm having to do that kind of love, I'm feeling dishonest because
naturally
मुझे लग रहा है झूठ बोल रहा हूँ मैं, ये अंदर से नहीं आ रहा है मेरे.
Acting a part of being a lover.
because अब मुझे करना पड़ रहा है, because अब मुझे बोलना होगा, ये चीज मुझे करनी चाहिए, ऐसा मुझे behave करना चाहिए. So that's not feeling true. So I thought this at least feels true. It may be shallow, it may not be like
the casual
it may not give you the emotional cushion or whatever, but at least it's true. It is what it is. I'm not having to lie. I'm not having to put up a false face. I'm not having to behave like somebody else that I'm not. So that I lived that life for 3-4 years. Again, much less than many other people. Because मेरा काम को लेके और सब को लेके focus है, and I'm also careful about people. Because उसमें भी थोड़ा होता है, थोड़ा सा you should know how to handle things gracefully, and that takes a little bit of effort and time and all, and you're not always willing कि यार नहीं यार मुझे काम भी करना है यार, मुझे सुबह उठ के शूट पे भी जाना है, मैं ये नहीं कर सकता रोज.
Casual relationship.
हाँ, casual relationship अभी मैं उस phase में नहीं हूँ, या you are in 1-2 things for a while and then kind of like fades away, or there's something that's like going on. Every 3 months you hook up and you meet.
There is this another word these days. It's called situationship.
Yeah.
Do you know about that?
Yeah.
क्या है situationship?
मुझे नहीं पता क्या है, but मैं पढ़ता रहता हूँ Instagram पे, काफी लोग reels बनाते हैं इसमें.
मैं भी पढ़ती हूँ, समझ में नहीं आया मुझे.
Try and keep on top of pop culture.
मतलब, what is the difference between a casual relationship or a situationship?
Yeah, I think
it's
this
the
is
same,
given a
na?
term. I think it's been given a term. वो एक word दे दिया गया है उसको.
Yeah, so a friend of mine was telling me, we are kind of in the situationship, and I'm like, what is this? Please make me understand. So because the situation permits for you to be in that relationship at the moment, it's more than casual.
But it's not.
It's less than
exclusive.
relationship. It's weird.
Is it exclusive? It's not exclusive.
I don't think so.
People define it for themselves.
Yeah, they define it for themselves. It's so many new words and new slangs coming in.
Words are catching up with actual behavior. No, तो words तो पीछे आते हैं. वो कि अब इसको क्या बोले, तो उसके लिए आपको word ढूंढना पड़ता है. But culturally, I think people are trying out new things, and I think it's very interesting. I find it very interesting that people are trying out new things, because it's also then, I mean, there will be you will go down paths that eventually you will realize are not meant for you, but at least you try and you find out for yourself who you are and what works for you. And yeah, because अभी तक तो बहुत 2-3 टेम्पलेट्स ही थे जो सब इंसानों को देते, या तो शादी करो या मत करो, या ये है, बस यही है 2-3.
वो टेम्पलेट्स बहुत जल्दी वॉश आउट हो गए, मतलब पिछले
बहुत
10 सालों में कितना सब
wash out
बदल
हो
गया
गया यार.
मतलब.
And then I also, which is why I empathize with the traditionalists also who are like, ये क्या हो रहा है हमारे देश को, हमारे समाज, because it's so fast.
It's so fast.
Like I see my parents, and when they were growing up to now they're watching their children in their youth.
Yeah.
It is a drastic difference, and they are. I appreciate that they are as much as possible trying to keep pace, trying to keep up pace. कि अच्छा ठीक है यार, ठीक है, अच्छा ऐसा होता होगा, ठीक है.
Correct.
ये है. And there probably are times when they feel नहीं यार अभी ज्यादा हो रहा है, ये क्या है, ये गलत है या नहीं है. They might have a judgment on it, but they are trying to keep up pace. But when I see it from their eyes, or if I put myself in their position, I can imagine how fast the
like
values
for us
have
only,
changed.
we are feeling it so fast. Like I was telling you last
Yeah,
time I was single,
like
was like in some other era.
When I was in college ये सब ना था. तब तो मेरे को यही होगा शायद. हाँ, कोई लड़की तो पता नहीं, हम पे तो कोई को पसंद नहीं करती शायद, ठीक है.
कॉलेज के टाइम पे did you used to have this word hookup culture in an engineering college? होता था?
कुछ नहीं होता था, बस
नहीं होता था ना,
बस एक वर्ड. hookup कोई वर्ड नहीं था.
And there was no other word for sex. Like how would you talk to someone if it is only for
वो boys hostel वाले disgraceful words.
No, but आप लड़की को थोड़ी disgraceful words से बोलोगे. What were your words, like comfortable words for sex back then?
Interesting question. I think बहुत बार तो आप use ही नहीं करते हो words, वो मतलब में ही समझ जाते हो कि.
Yeah. But आजकल तो बहुत specify करना पड़ता है.
Nobody ever said come over, let's have sex.
But आजकल ऐसा होता है.
आजकल ऐसा होता है. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
And
so the people are as clear.
I love it.
Which is amazing.
I mean, I find more at ease in this world than I did then. Because I remember, मेरे को याद आया इससे. देखो वो stories में बोल रहा था ना, अलग अलग याद आती हैं. In third year, I was supposed to direct a play. I fought for it कि मैं direct करूँगा. And you know, I was a day scholar. तो सब कुछ politics था कि day scholars को ये सब चीजें इतनी आसानी से मिलती नहीं है. वो hostel में बढ़ जाता है. Then as a director, I had to choose a play, whatever. So me and my co-director, they gave me a co-director कि भाई साथ में करना होगा फिर किसी के. So चलो ठीक है. And then we looked for scripts and everything, and then I found a script online called Let's Have Sex. That's the name of the play.
Wow.
And then there is a poster and there is an audition of this play that Amol is directing, and another guy, Nipun, I think. Amol and Nipun are directing. Let's Have Sex.
In college?
In college, third year. This is
Theatre?
third year IIT. Yeah. This is going to be our rendezvous
Debut.
play. Rendezvous play. English entry, English play entry in the rendezvous play. And I loved the script because it was like very out there, and you know, sex was like just a general topic. Like everybody's like talking about sex in the play. I remember some people didn't turn up for the audition. Like some girls didn't turn up because they wanted to act. They wanted to be in a play, but they were shy or awkward. Or they were like, you know, hostel में, you know,
बाद में क्या होगा,
कोई मजाक उड़ाएंगे. वो एक लड़की आई, उसको मैंने select किया. I said, you're so good, and she said, I can't do this because I, you know, hostel में they're already making jokes about it, and I can't. This thing I felt bad also. One, primarily for losing a good actor. कि भाई ये क्या बात हुई यार? You came for the audition.
Were you playing yourself in that
No,
play also?
I was not direct.
You were just
direct. So I was not acting in the play. That was not the idea, at least at that time. And it was a script. It was a written script we downloaded and something like, you know, आप ढूंढते थे college में कहाँ play करें, किसी से पूछते थे. And then eventually we had to shut down that play. We had to look for something else. Because it seemed to me, the world told me कि यार ये मत करना, क्या कर एक्टर्स नहीं आ रहे, वो नहीं हो रहा, you know, मुश्किल हो रहा है. Look for an easier play. Maybe easier for you to direct, क्योंकि अब तेरे को rehearsals में भी problem होगा, you know, maybe there'll be some awkwardness, maybe at some point some other actors will drop out, then what will you do? So the wiser voices swooped down and said कि रहने दे तू इसको, मत कर. So that my dream of doing a play called Let's Have Sex in IIT Rendezvous, the IIT festival, वो मेरा अधूरा ही रह गया वो.
अच्छा, तो अभी उस प्ले पे काम
इसलिए अब
चल
मैं
रहा है?
स्पोकन फेस्ट में जाके मैं यहाँ पे कोई और एक्टर नहीं है, यहाँ पे कोई नहीं, यहाँ पे कोई ड्रॉप आउट नहीं कर सकता,
यहाँ पे मैं अकेले ही
यहाँ
कहानी
पे मैं
सुनाऊंगा.
खुद आके कहानी सुना के चला
तो यहाँ
जाऊंगा.
पे आई कैन बी द स्टार ऑफ द स्टोरी आल्सो.
या आई मीन
If I
स्टार का
choose
पता
to
नहीं,
be.
हो सकता है कि 2 लोग टमाटर ही मारेंगे, ये क्या होता, क्योंकि बिफोर गोइंग ऑन स्टेज यू डोंट नो.
Yeah.
One, you're never confident about what you're going to do. Two, it was new for me also. I hadn't seen anything like that. This thing. Now I see some stand up and everything about casual sex and ये सब, but उस टाइम में जितना मुझे याद है ऐसा मैंने कभी कुछ देखा नहीं था.
Back in the day
वो
नहीं
अब
था.
थोड़ा सा बातें कर रहे हैं लोग, सिचुएशनशिप पे जोक्स आ रहे हैं, कैजुअल सेक्स पे जोक आ रहे हैं, वो सब हो रहा है. तो उस टाइम में मुझे लगा था कि इट इज क्वाइट पॉसिबल कि कोई उठ के बोलेगा भाई क्या होता है ये सब, क्या बातें कर रहे हो, जो है. इफ यू सी सम कमेंट्स ऑन YouTube, देयर आर maybe 7 comments which say कि भाई किधर कौन सी दुनिया में हो, क्या है, कहाँ चल रहा है ये, इंडिया है क्या है, जो भी है. Because okay, country is so complex. But but I like, I've always found the prudishness around sex a little weird, a little illogical. ठीक है, मतलब मेरा maybe there are certain ideas that you want to keep away from children, for example, because they're still learning about, होता है ना कि हाँ ठीक है उनको हम न्यूटन्स लॉ पढ़ाएंगे, पर शुरू में उनको पहले बेसिक पढ़ने दो. That I understand.
But your thoughts can be wild and can go in any direction. So where does one draw a boundary कि यार?
तो thought जाने दो. I don't know, like I don't know
thought
how
को
other
practical
people.
practice करने के लिए.
हाँ, thought तो आपको कई बार ऐसा थॉट आता है ना कि यार चाकू मार दूंगा इसको, but मारते नहीं हो ना. You're not a murderer just because you had a thought. So you're not.
नहीं, मतलब what I'm trying to ask is that where do you draw that boundary? Like you're saying that if we could talk about it with more ease, if we could talk about sex with more ease and fantasies with more ease. So fantasies तो कुछ भी हो सकती है. So how does one draw
आपको excite भी
a
करनी चाहिए ना.
boundary?
मतलब not every fantasy might work for you. He might have a fantasy that you like, hey ये कैसा, मेरे को नहीं exciting लग रहा है, but उसको बहुत exciting लगेगा. वो है different for. It's not like उसका फैंटेसी है तो सबका फैंटेसी है. It's what I have learned from whatever, like I've not spoken to every person in the world about their fantasies,
Right.
but whatever I understand from having talked to people, my friends or my partners or just reading stuff, fantasies are very different. Sometimes you read about fantasies like अरे ये ऐसी fantasies भी हैं यार. I went to Amsterdam right now and there was
Oh boy.
yeah, and
I'm going there next month.
We went to this one museum of prostitution and there's a wall of people having
Glass
written
wall.
down their fantasies.
Yeah.
Or something that has happened to them.
Yeah.
Like actual experiences that they enjoyed, weird experiences, and or fantasies that they've had. And you read them and like, bah, ये तो कुछ और ही चल रहा है, यहाँ पे क्या चल रहा है?
Salute and move on.
हाँ, मतलब it's just like it's interesting to know that people can be so different from each other. There will be times probably I can say something or I think is a common sexual thing and something like yuck. Like, yuck. Maybe it's yuck.
There's a lot of judgment also that comes in when you talk about these things or hear about these things which are out of the ordinary. है ना?
Yeah, I mean, there's also default हमको reactions दिए गए हैं कि हाँ yuck बोलना हमको सिखा, मतलब कहीं ना कहीं सीख लिया है हमने कि yuck बोलना है, but actually में वो maybe that's not your true reaction to it is what I feel. And I have noticed this and I'm glad to have such people around me who sometimes will react a certain way and say no, actually that's not my true reaction. And that I believe that's a self-aware person कि वो हो रहा है मुझसे, I notice myself doing this, but actually what I'm taking this back. I don't know why I said this. It was just an automatic. I think I do it internally. So usually वो
you don't let the other people know
कि वो बाहर निकलता ही नहीं है, वो अंदर ही आता है, फिर मैं अंदर ही अंदर खोलता कि नहीं ये मैं क्यों सोच रहा हूँ, ऐसे नहीं, ये सही नहीं है, वैसा होना चाहिए, वो मैं अंदर.
But do you think you are a self-aware person? You catch yourself?
I try to be. I try to be as much as possible, and I think acting is choosing acting has played a big part in that. Also, why I chose acting is also this reason. Suddenly you found something where one, you're able to express, and then you're able to think about thoughts and feelings, and then you're able to think about your characters' thoughts and feelings. Then you're able to compare your own thoughts and feelings with that, and see your awareness about the world and people at large, and then being able to express those things. I'm not a very expressive kid. I was the ideal kid. कम बोलता है, पढ़ाई में अच्छा है,
फर्स्ट आता
ज्यादा,
है।
हाँ फर्स्ट आता है क्लास में, ज्यादा इधर उधर का उसका वो नहीं है, कुछ इधर उधर के शौक नहीं है, कुछ रोना पीटना नहीं है. But there is a world inside that child that exists, and that world and those thoughts and feelings, they just exist. It's almost like हाँ ये तो अंदर के लिए ही है शायद.
So did acting give you that outlet
Yeah, definitely,
to express
definitely.
all of
So I
that?
found like, oh, I can be this. I can be suddenly a bad child also on stage. You know, I can be a bad guy. I can be a murderer. I can be so many other things that real life doesn't allow me to be.
Actually, there's a lot of freedom in being bad or not behaving idealistic all the time also.
Because otherwise life में हम लोग कर ही रहे हैं ना, हम लोग we are all, हम सबके ऊपर एक बड़ा सा पत्थर है of being a better person.
Right.
कहाँ से आया है पता नहीं, वो सबके ऊपर है, वो हमसे पहले भी था, हम पे भी है, शायद हमारे बच्चों में भी होगा. But there's just this idea of human beings wanting to be better human beings. It's a very beautiful idea that I find very interesting.
Yeah.
Because I look at dogs and I don't see any dog trying to be a better dog.
Exactly.
You know,
So
like
this is
मैं
all
ना
come
अच्छा
because of
कुत्ता
language.
बनूंगा, ऐसा कोई कुत्ता नहीं सोच रहा है, लेकिन इंसान सोच रहा है कि मुझे अच्छा इंसान बनना है. वो अच्छे का डेफिनेशन उसने अपना किया.
I think there's a lot of problem because of the language.
Hmm.
बहुत सारी चीजें ना लैंग्वेज में ही है, ये सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स जो हैं ये सिर्फ लैंग्वेज में ही है, एक्चुअल में पता नहीं कितने एग्जिस्ट करते हैं. You
Like
know,
what?
like जैसे being a better person, I think it's लैंग्वेज ना उसको बहुत ज्यादा कैसे बोले उसको
ट्रिपलाइज करेगा.
हाँ, लैंग्वेज उसको बहुत ज्यादा एक ग्लैमराइज्ड एंड ग्लॉस्ड वर्जन दिखा देता है कि ओ दिस इज अ बेटर पर्सन, बट एक्चुअल में देयर इज नो आइडियल डेफिनेशन ऑफ बीइंग अ बेटर पर्सन.
हाँ, we all have our own definition. Like I said
Yeah.
पहले, मैंने इसी कॉन्वर्सेशन में बोला भी है कि ना, we all try to be better versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
And I would try
नहीं,
to
उसी
be a
लैंग्वेज में
better
ही तो
version.
प्रॉब्लम है ना, बिकॉज योर डेफिनेशन ऑफ बेटर पर्सन, माय डेफिनेशन ऑफ बेटर पर्सन, 10 people's
Maybe
definition, it's all different,
Maybe
right?
different,
तो वो इतना कंफ्यूजन है उस लैंग्वेज में that you actually don't know what really is a better version.
True.
And वो सभी उसी क्वेस्ट में जा रहे हैं और कहाँ कहाँ कैसे कैसे जा रहे हैं. This is all networks,
True.
everything is getting
नहीं भी
confused,
जा
no?
रहे हैं, मतलब वो भी बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है कि कई बार आप सिर्फ बोल रहे हो बट कहीं जा नहीं रहे हो. आप
Exactly.
सिर्फ वो वर्ड्स यूज कर रहे हो and you're not
हाँ, किसी के लिए being a better person is only a thought level that I don't think ill of anyone, and I think good about the world, and I send out my good thoughts every day to everyone, and I am a better person.
So what do you do about the bad thoughts then?
Yeah.
Where do they go? Because we're all human beings. I wonder sometimes कि भाई ऐसे कैसे अपने थॉट्स को इतना कंट्रोल कर पा रहे हो कि आज टुडे आई वोक अप एंड आई चोज गुड थॉट्स.
And I think this filtration of good thoughts and bad thoughts is also not very defined. कि कौन सा थॉट कब आएगा, कैसे आएगा, या कौन सा थॉट गुड है और कौन सा थॉट बैड है.
थॉट आता है कहाँ, किसके हाथ, कहाँ से आया, किसी को नहीं पता है.
What are the craziest thoughts that you get?
हमारे सब कुछ तो क्या ही बताना है. But it can be anything, and it can be
like today I was flying in, तो मुंबई की बारिश, थैंक्स टू दैट, ऊपर एकदम रोशनी है तेज, और जैसे ही वो बादलों के अंदर गया एकदम डार्क, and I had a thought that it's done for us today, we're gone.
Yeah, that's an anxious thought.
Yeah, anxious thoughts. तो मतलब इस तरह के थॉट्स ना कभी भी थोड़ा सा एक सिचुएशन एक सेकंड के लिए फ्लिप मारा और वो पूरा
That's also your imagination. There's a lot of interesting play in these things. I think there's imagination also, because there is a sense of a storyteller. कि इसके आगे क्या हो सकता है? Where does this story go? We all want to take our stories somewhere. तो वो सब play है.
Do your thoughts bring you anxiety?
They have. Maybe at that time I also didn't have the word for it. मतलब एंजाइटी कोई वर्ड, जब हम कॉलेज में थे तो कोई
नहीं था, हमारे टाइम तक तो पता ही नहीं होता था.
बस वो है कि रात को नींद नहीं आई, एग्जाम है या वो है, या पेट खराब,
घबराहट हो रही है,
या ऐसा वो हो गया, लूज मोशंस हो गए. कुछ जो अलग अलग तरीके से लोगों का मैनिफेस्ट करता है वो इन देयर बॉडीज. व्हिच यू रियलाइज नाउ इज दैट लाइक I used to feel something very strongly when I had to, let's say, छुट्टियों के बाद जब आपको वापस जाना होता है, like leaving one place was always, I'm sure it's difficult for everyone, but I knew it was difficult for my stomach. Like that day my stomach will go bad. कि यार, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि आज नानी का घर छोड़ के जा रहा हूँ. ऐसा कुछ नहीं, वहीं जा रहे हो आप वापस अपने घर जा रहे हो, वापस स्कूल, दोस्त, वहां भी जाना चाहते हो आप. That is also something that is not like that's hell. But there is a certain reaction, a physical reaction to this event. And that I remember, and I think these kind of things probably everyone has in some ways. The change is change brings on certain fears or anxiety or
Amol, we were talking about relationships earlier. This term, commitment phobia, that I see is coming up so much. Like another day, my friend was telling me that, I have commitment issues. People are recognizing it. कि मुझे हो रहा है, तो क्यों हो रहे इतने सारे कमिटमेंट इश्यूज और ये फोबिया?
आप मुझे ऐसे पूछ रहे जैसे मैं मुझे सब पता।
आप इतनी रिसर्च करते हो, पढ़ते हो, स्टोरी टेलर हो, कहानियां सुनाते हो।
मैं चिल करता हूँ, मैं सोचता हूँ जिंदगी के बारे में, ये मेरा कहाँ पे मुझे ऐसा लगता है एज एन एक्टर।
बट व्हाट हैज योर एक्सपीरियंस बीन देयर?
वही एंजाइटी है ना, एंजाइटीज हैं, आई थिंक ये कुछ फियर्स हैं, एंड इट्स नॉट नेसेसरली meant for everyone, like we were saying, maybe it is not meant for everyone. Like I felt like at a certain age, I felt like it's not for me, and I still sometimes do, but it's just that I'm in a place where I'm comfortable at least with the other person कि मैं ये भी बोल सकता हूँ कि मेरे से नहीं होगा ये पता नहीं कितना चलेगा, हाँ ये पता नहीं कितना चलेगा। If I'm having the thought, I'm able to say it, like ठीक है देखेंगे। So at least there's no like ऐसा कैसे बोल सकते हो।
But do you hold that place, that safe place for your partner in your life कि कुछ भी आके आपको बोल सके?
I think so. Yeah. In fact, I think my cleverness is that I provide it first, so I can demand it.
How smart! That's a good way to go.
Let's be fair. Fairness तो बहुत सारे सब humans almost समझते हैं.
Logical brain.
It's very like it comes very easy to fairness. हाँ fairness. Fairness सब समझते. Fairness, justice सब समझते हैं. At least theoretical level पे. So I think that's been my process. That मैं दे रहा हूँ यार और मैं expect करूँगा वापस फिर. मतलब you don't say it in as many words, but that's how you operate. And that's and sometimes you'll be disappointed also in certain situations, other things कि यार मैं कितना देता, उसने कभी realize नहीं किया that I was giving him or her or this this situation, this kind of this thing, and I never got it back.
But that's a good way to do, I think. Clever to hai, but that's a good way also to do it.
I guess so. It feels fair to me.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, you're putting your money where your mouth is.
Yeah. I think I'm willing to be this person. And because I believe in it, it's not something कि हाँ मुझे ही चाहिए, and if you do point out कि भाई नहीं but यहाँ पे तो ये उल्टा है, तो I will take that into account also कि अच्छा ठीक है, let's think about that. Basics ही हैं, वही जो सब जगह बोलते हैं लोग, honesty है.
Eventually boils down to that only ना, सब जगह लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं
वही हाँ
उसी चीज से गिला भी
क्या है कि एक लिटरेचर चलता आ रहा है, हजारों सालों से इंसान सोच रहे हैं इस बारे में, किताबें लिख रहे हैं, और पहले पत्तों पे लिख रहे थे, फिर पेपर पे लिख रहे थे, अब फिर स्क्रीन्स पे लिख रहे थे. they were trying to pass on their thoughts and ideas to future generation ताकि उनको ना सोचना पड़े. तो वो उसके आगे का सोचो, इतना हमने सोच लिया. But sometimes you wonder, there is also, you go through an age where you wonder कि क्या पता सबको ना सही नहीं लिखा हो. Let's experiment and find out for ourselves.
I think we all
do that. We all do that. We all go through that phase कि यार नहीं मैं क्यों, फिर एक टाइम आता जब आपको लगता है कि हाँ इतने टाइम से बोल रहे थे तो कुछ सोच के ही बोल रहे थे. हाँ मतलब हाँ जल्दी उठो, हाँ मॉर्निंग रूटीन, हाँ थोड़ा ऐसा करो. ये तो मतलब बेसिक्स ही था, ये तो बचपन से माँ बाप बोल रहे थे, पर हमें लगा था ये क्या, हम क्यों माने, हमें क्या पता, आपको कैसे पता. तो घूम फिर के वो बेसिक्स पे आ जाती है बातें. एंड लैंग्वेज लाइक यू राइटली पॉइंटेड आउट इज लिमिटेड, कैन बी लिमिटेड इन सम वेज, कि वही वर्ड्स हैं. कई बार फीलिंग्स आपको लगता है कि हाँ फीलिंग तो कुछ नहीं है, बट क्या बोले इसको, ऑनेस्टी बोले इसको, कमिटमेंट बोले, क्या बोले इसको. वी आर ऑल लुकिंग फॉर वर्ड्स टू एक्सप्रेस आवरसेल्व्स. honesty I think is again it's in terms of that vulnerable honesty only, that कि बहुत सारी चीजें एटलीस्ट कन्वेंशनली पहले होता था कि ये थोड़ी बताना होता है ना, ये भी विजडम होता था, सब कुछ नहीं बताना होता है. मे बी if you're also okay with the fact that कि हाँ आपको भी सब कुछ नहीं पता है, कि दूसरा आदमी आपको सब कुछ नहीं बता रहा है, then okay, then maybe.
बट ऐसा भी होता है कि एक इंसान सब कुछ बता रहा है और एक इंसान अपनी विजडम यूज कर रहा है,
तो वो फेयर नहीं हो रहा है ना वहाँ पे. मैं कह रहा हूँ कि अगर आप ये डिसाइड कर रहे हो कि मैं सब कुछ नहीं बता रहा हूँ, and that is okay, then you should also be okay with the fact that the other person is also not telling you everything. Then you shouldn't be like, what are you hiding?
but ये सब कुछ जानने की क्यूरियोसिटी क्या है मतलब?
नहीं है मैं बोल रहा हूँ maybe if it works for you, यार कि don't tell me. Like I also know couples, I have my friends
Uh,
who is laughing that "Arey, she only tells me, don't tell me.
But what
Don't tell
type
me
are you?
anything."
Are you tell me everything?
I'm enjoying telling right now. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying telling right now because also,
I'm also very much that.
yeah, I enjoy because I've also not been that person. You know, it
Oh,
is
you
it is
have not?
new for me because I've lived so much inside of myself over the years. Also, just because of my life experiences, we were also always moving around a lot, changing schools. So even friendships I never formed which were deep, which were like, you know, I've known this person for 10 years, they know me, they know who I am.
But do you
and
think length of a friendship defines the depth of a friendship?
But I think it maybe not, but at least when you're growing up, that helps you open up a little more. फिर क्या होता है, आप नई जगह जाते हो, फिर आप वहां से शुरू करते हो कि बंद हूं मैं, अभी मैं धीरे धीरे खुलूंगा, आई एंड उस खुलने में आप भी अपने आप को जान रहे हो कि अच्छा ओ मेरे अंदर ये भी है, मेरे अंदर वो भी है, बिकॉज ग्रो यू आर आल्सो ग्रोइंग अप वेरी फास्ट. तो कुछ नया नया हो रहा है, अलग तरह का सेटअप है, अलग कल्चर है, अलग जोक्स हैं, आप यू नो ट्राइंग टू फिट इन इनटू दैट वर्ल्ड. And then 2-3 years you spend there, and then you know pack up your bags, go to another city, or go to another school, and then you start from zero, and then you're like, यहाँ मैं कौन हूँ? यहाँ पे मैं what role do I play in this society? So I think so it never becomes like, at least in my case, it never became like. So I was always candid. It was not like I was hiding things from anyone. I was being dishonest. But how much do you know? You also have to have the same experiences somewhere to at least relate. ना 3 साल पहले की जो मेरी कहानी है वो आपकी है ही नहीं. मैं तो कहीं और से, मैं क्या बॉन्ड करूँ उसके पास? यार याद है हम जब जाते थे टॉफी खाने, हम जाते ही नहीं थे कभी टॉफी खाने, हम तो अभी मिले. और फिर थोड़े दिनों बाद दैट साइड इज आल्सो चेंज एंड आई हैव मूव्ड ऑन. सो दैट एंड इट्स नॉट वेरी अनकॉमन. मेनी young people live like that, you know. Their parents are in certain jobs, army ये सब वाले जो हैं, my parents were in government job. तो वो होता है. I just feel like that level of vulnerability I reached not very early.
But
As a
are you
child.
okay with being 100% vulnerable now?
There are people I have found and I am trying to nurture because again, you know, it takes work. Especially in this day and age when, you know, everybody is just like busy and we all have our lives. So even friends, some people from college, मतलब वो कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि यार, and because there is a certain joy in that also. वो मैं अब experience कर रहा हूँ.
Actually, vulnerability is also a two-player game. एक तो जो vulnerable हो रहा है और दूसरा जो उसको समझ रहा है.
Correct.
So how much is that also happening? It defines.
And that becomes a space. You know, I can say that becomes a space. कि सामने वाले को पता है कि यहाँ पे मैं बोल सकता हूँ. मतलब कि वो आके मेरे घर पे चाय पीते बोल सकता है कि वो एक्चुअली मेरा शो बहुत घटिया है. दुनिया देख कुछ भी. So you also need that. You need someone to call you out.
Are you able to make real friends in this business? As
I think I've been able to again because it will take that effort. It will take taking those risks once or twice. आप किसी के साथ ट्राई करोगे एक दो बार, फिर आपको लगेगा यार ये trustworthy.
Have you called out someone completely on a bad job?
I have friends who I can say क्या कर रहा है तू, क्या स्टार वार बन के घूम रहा है. Because that happens, you know, and I think we all need. And you also then you make the kind of friends who are able to listen to that. Who's not going to be like, आज के यार इसको मत बुलाना अमोल को आज के बाद. I just want people to say good things. But I have friends who I can say, मतलब एक को मेरे को बिठा के हमने बोला है कि यार तू ज़्यादा स्टार वार बन रहा है, क्या ऐसे क्या बात कर रहा है तू? Because we've been at a certain party and then we come back and say, मतलब ये क्या स्टाइल क्या मार रहा था उधर? ऐसे पब्लिक में जाके ऐसे क्यों हो जाता है यार? Just be real ना. We are not those people. Come on, just like हम लोग acting art और ये सब बातें करते हैं, बड़ी-बड़ी बातें करते हैं. If you don't stick to your personality, then where will your acting go? Then it's also no, yeah, true, यार वो ना मेरे को हो जाता है कभी-कभी. So it is a honest conversation.
No, but even actual friends, those you know that they are well-wishers, they're saying or speaking from a good place and good intent and all of that. But when the feedback like that comes, which is like negative,
it's not easy.
It's not easy to take it. Like, you know, something in your heart is like breaking because you're attached to the process and the outcome and whatever you've created. And now you're getting this feedback and you're like, oh God, what was all that effort for? I'm not ready for this feedback.
And sometimes you're not. Sometimes I'm also like, I know it's well-meaning, you know, अभी screening हुई है, अभी बहुत बड़ा हा ही हुआ है, तालियां वालियां बजाई, अभी हम पार्टी कर रहे हैं. उसमें आके बोल रहा है क्या बोलो ना, सीन में ना ऐसा. तो also like अभी नहीं यार.
Let's see it later.
हाँ, मतलब अभी मैं भी रिसीव में नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं हूँ ही नहीं उस मोड में ना. I'm not in the reception mode that I'm going, and it's not going to help me also right now. Because अभी मैं क्या कर दूंगा उसका, अब तो वो हो गया. But we'll sit down 15 days later, a month down the line, we'll sit down, चाय वाय पियेंगे, फिर बात करेंगे.
फीडबैक लेना, क्रिटिसिज्म लेना भी एक आर्ट है, एक साइंस है, उसको समझना.
उसको समझना और कितना यूजफुल है, कितना नहीं है, कितना किस जगह से आ रहा है, किस पर्सपेक्टिव से आ रहा है.
बड़ा डिफिकल्ट है वो भी. एक
कुछ डिफिकल्ट है, जिंदगी डिफिकल्ट.
पहले मुझे ऐसा लगता था दैट फीडबैक आए तो टेक वेरी पॉजिटिवली. हाँ यार फीडबैक दो. जब या शायद पहले वैसे लोग नहीं थे जो उस तरह की फीडबैक देते थे, या हम ऐसी हरकतें नहीं कर रहे थे जिसपे कोई बहुत नेगेटिव फीडबैक आ भी सके. जब एक्सप्लोर करना शुरू किया तो इतनी सारी फीडबैक आने लगी. आई वाज लाइक डूड, आई एम नॉट रेडी फॉर दिस. Am I such a bad person, or am I such a bad professional, or whatever? Then
I think there is also the attachment with yourself.
100%. Your identity now, because
identity.
That is your identity, right? जिसपे आपको feedback आ रहा है.
So that's probably a kind of work that anyway we are all doing at the back end. कि वो वाला hardware software हम लोग उसको strong कर रहे हैं कि that your identity doesn't get questioned just because somebody has a certain feedback.
How does one work on this, Amol?
You tell me.
I mean, I'm also as in the journey as you are.
Yeah,
so
we all are.
Yeah, so I don't know. One thing that I have figured out from my experience is that attachment to your identity and placing your self-worth equivalent to your identity, and mostly we do it. We place it equivalent to our professional identity. It's not the best thing to do.
Maybe.
Because the first thing when someone asks you who you are, the first thing we tell is our name, and the second thing is your profession.
Yeah.
Because that's what you reduce yourself to. Sure. Naturally, you attach a lot of worth to it. So when it gets questioned, naturally there's a lot of, conflict within you that arises, which is not able to process all of this madness at once.
So yeah, I said this exact same thing that you just said in another conversation last year. I said, I'm not an actor. This is what I am trying to tell myself, that I am not an actor. I act. That's something I do. And especially me, who has been all kinds of people, not all kinds, but different kinds of people over the course of my life, and have had different aspirations, different goals. तो मैं तो क्यों इतना अटैच हो जा रहा हूँ एक्टिंग से? मतलब एक्टिंग से अटैच, लाइक क्राफ्ट से अटैचमेंट है, बट द आइडेंटिटी ऑफ द एक्टर इज अ कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट थिंग. तो वो मैं क्यों हो रहा हूँ? एंड आई कैन बी एनीथिंग.
When you see it as a job, that this is something that you do, तब आप उससे ओके हो जाते हो कि ये सही भी हो सकती है, गलत भी हो सकती है, बहुत गलती भी हो सकती है.
Days you won't be best at it every day, and you are trying your best. You are trying to do your job, and you are motivated, and you are good, and you work hard, and you see people around you and they don't work as hard, or they're not as good, and then you think, yaar, aisa nahi hai yaar, there's nothing wrong with me. I am doing what I can do best.
Right.
And not everything has to fall in place, and there are other things, and that was also a different kind of realization for me, because like last year for the first time I took a holiday in my life.
Wow, really?
Well, I've traveled, but I never paid for my own tickets.
Was it this Amsterdam holiday?
No, Amsterdam was just right now for last month. But तब से मैं काफी जगह घूम गया. But this was also one of those. Like I never traveled
on your own money.
On my own money.
Perks of being an artist. You travel.
हाँ कैसा हो? मुझे तो मैं तो देख रहा हूँ ना, travel बोलते लोग, मैं तो दुनिया देख रहा हूँ. I'm going on, like I'm doing international travel shows, and I'm shooting in certain locations. हम तो हांगकांग जा रहे हैं, यहाँ जा रहे हैं, चाइना जा रहे हैं, यूके जा रहे हैं, plays कर रहे हैं internationally. But then I realized that many people are saying कि no, it's not the same thing, no, it's not the same thing, and people like kind of give some credence to कि चलो इनकी बात सुनी जा सकती है, और काफी लोग बोल रहे हैं, तो चलो देखते हैं, हो सकता है कि मुझे सब कुछ नहीं पता है, हो सकता है इसमें कुछ बात है. So I tried that.
You went alone by yourself?
All kinds of things. मैंने 3-4 तरह की चीजें की. फिर मैंने फ्रेंड्स के साथ भी की, स्ट्रेंजर्स के साथ भी की, अलोन भी की, फैमिली के साथ भी की, सब किया मैंने पिछले 1 साल में. तो वो I mean that's also just the kind of things that I did many things because I was suddenly finding myself in a rut mentally. And then I realized कि अरे मैं क्योंकि मैं वहाँ बैठे बैठे घर में मैं एक्टर बन चुका हूँ. सुबह उठ के मैं यही सोच रहा हूँ अगला प्रोजेक्ट क्या आएगा, अभी जो चल रहा है उसका पैसा कब आएगा, अरे मेरे उतना क्यों नहीं मिला, और just constantly that, which is, I mean, you do think about your job, but since we don't even have a time limit, you become your job. And I think I had, and maybe till a certain time that was important because I needed to put everything in, but now I don't have to, I realize. Enjoy bhi to karna hai.
This is one conversation I was having with GK, Gaurav Kapoor. The difference between need and want. I don't need to, I want to. So as long as you know correct. That need to से हम start करते हैं क्योंकि हमें अपने टेबल पे खाना लेके आना है, शेल्टर लेके आना है, वो करना है. तो need से I think we all start when you come from a lower middle class background or whatever. You want to provide for yourself. जो वो basic necessities sort out हो जाती है.
मुझे लगता है because हमसे भी नीचे बहुत लोग
हैं exactly.
I meet a lot of people. Even acting, not just acting. अरे मेरे को पैसा चाहिए था इसलिए मुझे करना पड़ा. नहीं तुमको पैसा चाहिए था क्योंकि जी तो लोग कैसे भी रहे. Unless you are below poverty line, that's a different
exactly. thing. So वहाँ तक I think need है poverty line तक आने तक, और उसके बाद वो एक आपकी want है. So आपको वो difference जब समझ में आ जाता है तो mentally शायद वो थोड़ा सा easy हो जाता है चीजों को deal करना and process करना. I want to move to the last conversations here. तो सबसे पहला तो you are in a very competitive business. How do you see competition and how does that not deter who you are as a person at this point?
I love the competition. Yeah, I've first आना था ना क्लास में हमें हमेशा से. वो तो अगर 40 लोग लेने आएंगे तो फर्स्ट कहाँ होगे आप? अकेले में थोड़ी फर्स्ट आओगे. So I think that kid is there. It's kind of mellowed down over time because world teaches you कि आप first नहीं आ सकते हर चीज में because it's not a classroom. हर कोई किसी ना किसी चीज में आपसे बेटर होगा, तो वो फर्स्ट पोजीशन ही एग्जिस्ट नहीं करती है. या तो आप रिचेस्ट बन जाओगे लेकिन उसमें भी कुछ लोग गाली देंगे, या तो आप स्मार्टेस्ट बन जाओगे उसमें भी कुछ ना कुछ पीछे. सो दिस सो यू दैट आई थिंक दैट यू लर्न, द वर्ल्ड टीचेस यू कि ऐसा नहीं है. बट इन स्मॉल थिंग्स एटलीस्ट इट गिव्स यू अ सर्टेन डिसिप्लिन, इट गिव्स यू सर्टेन काइंड ऑफ मोटिवेशन, इट यू नो how to push through when you're not feeling it. कि पढ़ाई का मन नहीं है लेकिन पढ़ाई करूंगा क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि eventually होगा. मतलब again it's a very basic way of putting it.
But you think competition is fair?
Here in this field?
Here in this business?
No, just like everywhere else.
Yeah.
In life. You just have to identify.
Competition, I think, can never be fair also because it's a mix of so many things. It's a mix of where you are, who you are, what you are, your destiny.
Yeah, your birth has so much to do with
who you're going to compete
your circumstances.
With. Yeah.
That completely 100% socialist world कि भाई सब बच्चों को लो और उनको इक्वलाइज कर दो एक फैसिलिटी में डाल के, वो हो नहीं सकता. It's not even in human nature. I think. That somehow feels unnatural.
Of course, वो labs में होता है ना.
Correct.
एक जगह पे जाके that's unreal environment.
That happens to mice.
Yeah.
But उसमें भी genes कहाँ जाएंगे? तो genes तो कहीं ना कहीं I think they will have some role to play. These are complex ideas.
Yeah. कई लोग काफी unaware होते हैं उस चीज के.
Unaware होते हैं और उस बात से भी unaware है कि वो
unaware है. Exactly.
Because the world around them, because nobody is calling them out. Because there are no friends, no parents. Nobody is saying that was a stupid thing that you said. Nobody is saying that.
Right.
And thankfully, I have people around me. Even my parents will be like, "ये क्या?" Sometimes you wonder कि भाई इतना हर चीज में तुम क्यों चुप करते हो?
But do they see everything that you do?
I think they do. They might not. They might not talk about everything that I do, but
everything that you do cannot be a dinner table conversation also, ना. आप तो करते भी ऐसी चीजें और नई चीजें. That's what I'm saying. वो तो कभी डिस्कस कर नहीं सकते.
ऐसा नहीं देखा नहीं होगा.
15 मिलियन लोगों ने देखा है तो 2 इंसानों ने देखा है
तो उन्होंने भी देखा ही होगा. And there's so much being shared of it on Instagram and everything. Of course they've seen it. But maybe they don't know how to bring it up. It's not in their vocabulary, and I don't blame them. But I try to have conversations with them, and I think they're willing. It's just that they lack the vocabulary sometimes, and they and their own training of being honest in these ways or vulnerable in these ways. Now I sometimes think, like, even if we watch something चलो आ रहे हैं, अपने लव स्टोरीज देखा, कैसा लगा, ये क्या चल, तो यू नो इट ओपन्स देम अप कि हाँ नहीं. So you can have a normal conversation कि how in that film the sex scene was like this, how in this film the sex scene. So and they also realize कि हाँ ठीक ही तो है यार, बात ही तो कर रहे हैं, अपने बच्चे से तो बात कर रहे हैं. So it puts them at ease, and I like that. I don't want to make them uncomfortable, but I want them to be comfortable to at least share their thoughts. कि आपने कोई फिल्म देखी, कुछ देखा, वो बोलेंगे कि हाँ बहुत ज्यादा सेक्स था उसमें, या बहुत ज्यादा उस तरह का वायलेंस. At least they're able to say this. So that I try. But what were we talking about before that? I forgot.
I just thought of a friend. I was at their home, and mom and dad are sitting, and somehow this topic of sex comes in, and mom is naturally thoda uncomfortable, and father is still okay. So the guy ends up asking his mom ki, do you guys not have sex now? And the mother is 60 plus, the father is 60 whatever, close to 70. They think आपने क्यों करना बंद कर दिया है? So मतलब इस तरह की conversation, and for me it was kind of awkward because I have never asked my parents that are you having sex now or not.
No, we had that in Tripling season 3 abhi. So Tripling season 3 was based on this idea that parents are saying we are separating.
Yeah.
I mean, Tripling is also slightly a fantastical world and fantastical family. वो अलग ही भलती family है कुछ. So but you can at least this gives us an opportunity to talk about these things. So it's like an old couple, 35 years they've been together, and say हो गया यार, अभी मेरे को ये करने का मन है, इसको ये करने का मन है, we are separating, and children are like अरे ये क्या हो रहा है, and Chitwan being Chitwan like क्या मतलब अभी दूसरे लोग क्या सेक्स करोगे आप, and the siblings are like अरे ऐसे कम. So and that's what has been actually, I think, why people love that guy. Because he says it out loud.
Yeah, exactly. So
and everybody else is like, the brother is really like, so क्या और the sister is like, ऐसे कौन बात करता है?
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, अरे क्या हो गया, सेक्स के बारे में तो पूछ रहा हूँ यार.
Exactly, I was being that कि ऐसे कौन बात करता है यार, मतलब it's so awkward. And the guy was like, yeah, why is it awkward? It's basic human need. And just because you're aging doesn't mean that your desire or need stops. And I kind of then rolled myself back and I was like, हाँ यार बात तो सही कर रहा है, मतलब why do we think of it through the layers and so many layers and stuff. When you talk about
I also believe that, you know, again कि भाई अगर quantum physics तक जाना है तो पहले आपको basic से शुरू करना होगा. We can't jump our parents from here to there also, or anyone from here to there. But
conversations like these are starters.
That give you, and I believe that वो चितवन का प्यार, एडमिरेशन, अट्रैक्शन वो यही है कि वो एग्जैक्टली वही बोलता है जो उसको मन में आता है और जो कहीं ना कहीं ऑडियंस के मन में आता है. यू नो, यू लव अ पर्सन व्हेन दे से एग्जैक्टली व्हाट यू आर फीलिंग.
या एग्जैक्टली.
एंड यू आर नॉट, and you're laughing because you're not able to say it. Because there is certain awkwardness around you.
और आपके आसपास भी भाई कोई बोलेगा तो आप उसको रोकोगे भी.
आप रोकोगे,
आप क्या कर रहे हो?
ऐसे नहीं कि आप बोल पाओगे, but it's slightly aspirational,
but you know,
in the way he lives his life. You know, in the choices he makes.
एकदम बेबाकी से,
nonchalant से and honest है. मतलब कि गलत नहीं है, graceful है. बदतमीजी नहीं करता है किसी के साथ, किसी को हर्ट नहीं करता है, किसी का द्वेष नहीं है उसको, किसी का बुरा नहीं है वो, कोई सेल्फिशनेस नहीं है, कुछ उसको अटैचमेंट नहीं है ऐसी चीजों से कि पैसा मिल जाए बहुत सारा, वो मिल जाए, वो सब हो जाए. वो उसने क्रैक कर लिया. उससे वो चितवन से पूछा जाना चाहिए कि भाई तुमने कैसे किया है.
नहीं, बट एक्चुअली लेयर्स को टेक डाउन किया जाए तो लाइफ इज दैट सिंपल. इट इज एक्चुअली दैट सिंपल.
ही सेज सिंपल थिंग्स ना, ही समटाइम्स सेज अ सिंपल थिंग, मतलब ऑब्वियस सी बात है ना, उसके लिए सब ऑब्वियस है. एंड दैट इज व्हाट इनफैक्ट that I had to create that approach towards that character, because there could have been 100 ways to say those lines, because वो तो funny है, आपको पता है कि वो funny है. In fact, it's written in a very hangover वाला that character वाला zone ना, कि it's just like weird and you can play it in many different ways.
But playing that character help you grow in your own mind?
I think so.
Open up.
3 season किए मैंने, and you realize, because I had to constantly be in a state of mind that he's chill about it.
Yeah.
He's not doing it for effect.
He's the cool guy that we were talking about.
Genuinely, he's not even trying to be cool. He's so cool that he's not trying to be cool.
Yeah.
And that can be, that if you find that place in your head, it can be liberating.
Yeah.
And if you are having to go to that place again and again and again and again for 30 days, 40 days, and then for seasons, you know, it opens up your own attitude towards certain things. Ki, haan, yeah.
Yeah.
फर्क पड़ता है यार
Correct. Yeah.
ठीक है ना मतलब
हाँ,
ये
इतना क्यों complicate करके
इतना
रखा
क्यों
हुआ है हमने?
complicate करके रखा हुआ है
अमोल क्यों कॉम्प्लिकेट करे जब चितवन इतना सिंपलीफाई कर रहा है?
Because this is also a way
Yeah.
to think about this.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I
100%.
also come to believe attitude is a very important thing in life. Nothing is good or bad.
You have seen so much in life. You have scored 238 in your IIT entrance exam. Let's go back to that point.
Yes.
And you've scored some brilliant roles here for yourself as an actor. You are an amazing storyteller. Of all this that you're doing, what is your definition of success?
I read somewhere, no, I didn't read it. Somebody read it and said, success is a calm nervous system. And they sent it to me and said, you. And this is somebody really close to me, like my partner. So I saw it as like, sure, are you sure? I mean, because it's not always the truth.
Yeah.
But you also get a sense of who you are from other people around you, what they're saying. Because sometimes you have to listen to them because you don't know everything. So I think eventually it is being able to be comfortable with who you are and where you are. And I also believe that it's not something that happens and then it stays forever. It is something that may happen for a while.
It was such a lovely conversation with you, Amol. Thank you so much
thank
for
you.
coming on.
I don't know what it was about, but
Mostly sex.
Eventually.
Only word that I'm
we
taking away
tried,
from
but then
this
it became about many
conversation.
other things.
Yeah, it became about many other things, but I'm so glad that you spared time to join me on the journey within. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right, if you have made it to the end of this video, please do remember to subscribe, like, comment and share. Because अगर मैं ये नहीं बोलूंगी तो मैं YouTuber कैसे बनूंगी? So guys, do the needful. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you're enjoying these conversations. And if there's any feedback, comment section, make that your friend. Thank you.